So today we're going to talk about the Philips CPAP recall litigation and the allegation that those machines can cause cancer and other respiratory illnesses. So if you used one of these recalled machines, watch this video to see if we can help. So basically the allegation is Philips used a sound dampening foam in these machines to make them quieter at night when people are sleeping. But they used an industrial foam, the same kind of thing that's put in mattresses, and the foam degraded, and little particles of the foam got into the tubing of the CPAP and was shot down the airway of people as they slept. Now, obviously, that's not good, but what's even worse is that Philips knew that this foam would degrade. They knew about the risk. Apparently the foam has a carcinogenic quality to it where it's got genotoxicity where it can cause cells to change. So it's not simply that it was a harmless foam. This foam was also one that can possibly cause cancer. And Philips knew about this. So there's a Bombshell report in ProPublica about how Philips knew these CPAP machines were dangerous and posed a serious risk of harm to its users and customers. And they hid this for like 10 years. And the Justice Department of the United States is now investigating Philips, possibly for criminal reasons. And so that's pending at the same time as this injury litigation that we're talking about. So it's really bad what is alleged to have happened here. And I think these cases have some serious merit to them. So we already talked about how the first step is, did you use the device? The next question would be, for how long? So there's something called a latency period with a lot of these illnesses, especially cancer, where the time that it takes for the mutations to occur and for the cancer to develop has to be sufficiently, in the future from the time that the exposure happened. So we're looking at roughly 3 years from the date of maybe first use of the Philips CPAP to the onset of cancerous symptoms or other symptoms. Now, might be a little bit shorter for respiratory illnesses like asthma and this sort of thing, but certainly for cancer, it's going to take a latency period of about 3 years. So kind of an evergreen truth when it comes to this type of litigation, which is a mass tort, defective product, defective device litigation, is that a lot of the affected people or potential clients, potential plaintiffs in the litigation are not aware that they have a case. They don't even know that this is happening. They might have a great case, but they don't know it. So I'll give you an example. I don't know if you followed the 3M litigation over the defective earplugs, but that litigation basically just all settled out. It's closed and it's over. But when that happened, our office was flooded with calls from people saying, hey, do I qualify for the 3M litigation? Well, you might have, but it's too late. And so only when they see these articles that 3M is settling these cases and paying out do they start calling, and by then it's too late. So one purpose of this video is simply to raise awareness that Philips CPAP lawsuits are happening, that Philips may have hid that these products were so dangerous that they could cause cancer. One thing I didn't mention, they could also potentially cause kidney and liver cancer, because as these little tiny ping pong ball particles get into the airway, they have to go somewhere and they're secreted, through the kidneys into the liver, and that can cause a cancerous process there. So again, those cases are going to be a little bit tougher, but we're investigating them. So by all means, call us if you have one. But the larger point is just that raise awareness for this. If you use a CPAP, go look and figure out what the models were. If you've recently changed CPAPs and you think you might have had a Philips, go track it down. If you've got a loved one who uses a CPAP, maybe your wife sleeping next to you or your husband, figure out what model it was. Make sure that you don't qualify. Raise awareness, spread the word. That's how you can get justice in this litigation.